Boris Johnson has been brutally attacked for the UK's handling of the post-Brexit trade deal with the European Union and warned it will be Britain that will be hit harder in the event of a no-deal outcome. The UK and EU negotiating teams had been locked in talks over a trade agreement throughout last week as they desperately bid to make a breakthrough in the long-running negotiations. But little progress appears to have been made, with significant differences continuing to remain, predominantly around fisheries, state aid and the EU's level playing field. Neither side is giving much ground on the crucial red lines, increasing fears they will run out of time to agree a trade deal with less than 4 weeks left until the end of the transition period on the 31st of December. Late on Friday evening, British and EU negotiators agreed to pause talks amid continuing significant divergences on a number of key issues, with Boris Johnson and Ursula von der Leyen to speak on Saturday. In a joint statement, the EU's chief negotiator Michel Barnier and UK counterpart Lord Frost said, after 1 week of intense negotiation in London, the two chief negotiators agreed today that the conditions for an agreement are not met, due to significant divergences on level playing field, governance and fisheries. On this basis, they agreed to pause the talks in order to brief their principals on the state of play of the negotiations. But Jill Rutter, a senior research fellow from the UK in a Changing Europe think tank, has questioned some of the UK's negotiating strategies throughout the trade deal talks with the EU. She said, the relative sizes of the two players mean that the EU has always had the upper hand on all issues except on fish. The UK does not appear to have been prepared to use its strong position on fisheries to leverage wider benefits, focusing instead on delivering to those fishers who both want more access to UK waters and can sell their catch domestically. The key sticking points are what they have been for some time. Fisheries access, where the EU wants to get as near as possible to maintaining the status quo, and the issues around level playing field and how to settle disputes, where the EU wants sufficient guarantees the UK will not undercut their businesses before it grants tariff-free access to the single market. This is a big issue of principle for the UK and it will need to be prepared to move if there is to be a deal. The EU will have to reduce their ambitions on fish a long way easier for many countries with little interest, but not for some like France or Denmark. Michel Barnier looks keener to do a deal and many member states who will have to sell compromises back to their voters. The UK has got this wrong all along, assuming the politicians are the pragmatists and the bureaucrats are the people who get in the way. Ms. Rutter also believes the UK will be hit harder than the EU in the event of a no-deal Brexit. She warned Downing Street now has a huge decision to make over whether the significant economic hit is a price worth paying. The senior research fellow continued, no deal will introduce significantly more friction and hassle into trade. The UK will be hit harder than the EU. Both sides will lose economically though, and both sides will lose if there is no agreement on elements such as security cooperation. The UK government needs to weigh whether that economic hit is a price worth paying for avoiding any limitations on its future freedom to act. She added, economically both are likely to lose, but the EU thinks that it has more to lose long run if it agrees a deal that undermines the single market, while the UK government needs to judge whether it is happy to trade real economic damage now for possible future benefits from divergence and distance from the EU. In terms of security, both sides will find their capabilities reduced. On Friday, Downing Street had warned trade talks with the EU have reached a very difficult point and repeated there would not be an agreement that doesn't respect our fundamental principles on sovereignty, fishing and control. A spokesman for Mr. Johnson said, we are committed to working hard to try and reach an agreement with the EU and the talks are ongoing. There are still some issues to overcome. Time is in very short supply and we are at a very difficult point in the talks. What is certain is we will not be able to agree a deal that doesn't respect our fundamental principles on sovereignty, fishing and control. Our negotiating team is working extremely hard in order to bridge the gaps that remain.